us, he created a picture, and we were created in the image and the likeness of our God. Our God is a genius. Our God is a creator, and sometimes we don't realize how much power that we have in the earth when we think things out. When we put our mind into uh, action or activation. I love how you said you're pro counseling. We need counseling. Why? Because we need to navigate what's going on in our mind, what's going on up there. Like, hey, should I keep this in creativity mode or should I take it out? Now that came from a hurtful place. I'm not gonna think that. So it's like sometimes, many times, we were stopped to move it beyond from it because of the picture, the idea of what we created in our heads. And we have to stop living from our heads. We got to start confronting reality and say, you know what? I'm better than this. I'm stronger than this. This will not kill me. I'm still here. I got to move forward in this. All right, I feel preach coming up. So yeah, that's my thing.
Preach then, bro.
Well, since you said preach, then let me keep going. So this is the thing. I've been dealing with this for like the last week and a half, and this topic has been coming up, and I feel like it's connected to the topic today. Is Lord, I'm thirsty. Now, when you think about this, I'm not saying you thirsty, you running towards God like, yeah, I'm just so thirsty, I'm ready. No. To be thirsty is to be honest and open and say, Father, I'm dealing with this. This is what I'm going through, and I can't stay here any longer. So I need your help. So with that spiritual aspect, we got to go to God and say, hey, God, help me in this place because I'm going after things, idols, people to help me in situations, knowing that they can't help me, which is another way of looking at playing the victim role. I'm playing the victim role because I want people to love on me, knowing um, they're not going to help me anyway because I can get myself up out of this. So it's like, what are you going to do? Are you going to take the decision? Are you going to make the decision the I think the breaking down word for deliverance is decision in the Hebrew or Greek. I believe so. It's a decision. So what that means is, are you going to decide today? Make a decision today. Whenever you don't make a decision, you leave what's in your head, the picture in your head. You leave that just I'm gonna let it run rampant. I'm gonna leave that picture there. I can't see myself, so it's because of what the picture I created. You have to tap in to who you are in Christ. Who you are. Lord, I'm thirsty. When Jesus talked to the Samaritan woman in John chapter 4, he was saying, bam, you thirsty. Yup, you're right. You're right, you have no husband. The 5 husbands you had, and the one you ain't your man. You are thirsty. You're trying to go after a man to feel what you're trying to feel that only I can feel. You need living water. So we can you move on from it? You can. Absolutely. But the bigger question is, do you want to move on from it? Do you decide to move on from it? Do you choose to move on from it? Because we got to go deep with this. It's a decision. It's a choice. God is like, Brian, I'm not going to have this conversation with you, son. So it's either you gonna decide to do this or decide to obey me. Which is why God does not like lukewarm Christians. Either make a decision. He's a God. I need you to make a decision. I will honor you if you don't want to follow me, you don't want to obey me. But make a decision. Choose ye this day who you will serve. A double-minded man, there we go, is unstable in all of his ways. So double-mindedness is connected to not confronting what's in your head, not actually dealing with what you're going through, not actually saying, like, you know what, they did that, but you know what, God is on my side, I can go beyond this. Let's deal with the double-mindedness. about my life, surely I can go past this moment. I got to choose it. I got to decide it and say, you know what? It's it's done. I'm going beyond. I'm going to infinity and beyond, as Buzz Lightyear would say. I'm going beyond this joint. There we go.
Listen here. To infinity and beyond. Let's go. I'm all for it. Let's go. I'm excited about this conversation today because this season right now is a move on season, y'all. I'm looking at these months are flying past so quickly. May is here and gone just that fast. We are already on day number, what is it, 20, 25, 26? Today's the 26th. So May went just that quick. Just that quick. So we are in the second quarter of the year. And who wants to end the second quarter the same way they started? Who wanted to begin 2023 the way that they ended 2022? Nobody. I don't, unless they just really made that decision that that's the way they was gonna live their good life. I'm gonna live my best life, doing what I want to do. Go ahead. But when you get into a place where you get stuck, don't drag people down with you. Stop pulling people in your mess. If you in something, and don't be pulling those in there because you need people to agree with you, to coordinate with you, to say that's okay, to pat you on your back. We know, the Lord knows your heart. Yeah, He knows your heart. He knows your mind too. It started in your mind. You stirred that up. Your heart got attached to what you were thinking. So now we just going there. At this point, we got to be able to change it up. Change your mindset. Change the way you're thinking. Change the way you're moving while you're thinking. Add action to your positive thoughts, to your kingdom thoughts. Time for you to shift away from this thing. So, in this process today, we are going to work through some stuff. Okay, in this process, we're going to put some stuff on the line. So, today, we are kicking this off. This conversation is about to flow. Our invitations to come up and speak are about to happen, and we are going to move on. And again, we are f2gradio.net, where we are on the f2gradio.net, but we are F2G Radio. That's Faithful to God Radio, the Faithful to God Network, Faithful to God Entertainment, Faithful to God Apparel. That's what we are right now. Y'all wait for what's coming. What's coming? What's coming? We have amongst kings, amongst queens, amongst royalty, amongst heirs. All of those are coming back and featuring soon. Patreon.com is up and running for you all to join us. That's patreon.com/F2G. Make sure that you are subscribing. Thank you to our patrons that are on currently. Get ready for what's about to happen for you all. Discounts on events, other live performances that are coming on, and you have exclusive access to a lot of things that F2G is about to present. And believe me, as a patron, you're going to love this. We want to honor you for loving on us enough to subscribe. So make sure you're joining us. And if you're listening to us on YouTube right now, hit that button, hit that bell. Make sure you're on with us. Make sure you're subscribing with us. Bring your friends, bring your family. Let's do this. Do it on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram for clips of what we're doing. We do want to give a quick shout out to Miss Tina Turner, rest in peace, Queen. We are loving on what she has done and who she was and where she came from. She made decisions, y'all. It's funny, God is tying this back in. She made decisions in her life of what she would not do. One of her interviews where she talks to Oprah Winfrey, she said that the reason why she had such a longevity is because of endurance. She made sure not to be a smoker, a drinker, no drugs, and she just stuck to what she knew and she stayed with that and she endured. 83 years old, passing away. So shout out to the queen, and we will be honoring her real soon with an hour-long Tina Turner because I'm a Tina Turner fan, y'all. So an hour-long tribute to her with her music. So if y'all ain't watched it or never saw it, what's love got to do with it? Go check out her story behind how she became Tina Turner. Okay, and making sure that you understand who Anime is. I'm just saying, just put that out there. So we're gonna make sure we do this transition real quick. We're inviting you all up to speak. I'm gonna go ahead and send out these invites. If you want to come up to speak, that's fine. If you don't want to come up to speak, that's fine. Y'all know what y'all can do. Type in the chat, or if you want to just sit and listen and send up your emojis, go ahead and do that. We are here for it all. You don't have to leave to be a part or not be a part. That's what we're doing today, okay? So good morning, Michelle. Michelle is joining us on the platform. Hey girl.
Good morning, family. How are you guys doing this beautiful day that the Lord has made?
We are good. So happy to have you back with us. Hope that everything has been going well.
Yeah, I mean, how
Yes,
life
ma'am.
is.
Life be life, and you know we say it all the time. Life be life, and people be people. But we
Yes,
gonna go ahead and do that kingdom thing, and we gonna keep kingdoming. Okay,
amen.
that's what we praying and we shouting and we putting the praise on it before it even come to light, so we can see it happen. Because we don't manifest nothing for ourselves. God does it for us.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're gonna get this conversation continuing on. I'm gonna start it off. Y'all know lately I've been making sure that I kick it off with me because I don't want to leave me out the loop. One of the things that I've held on to, I probably have not talked about to too many people. I had a situation where um, me and my son were in a, and I'm trying to make sure I say this correctly because I don't want to use names, and I have a habit of saying the person because I'm confrontational. Let me just let y'all know. I'm one of those people that if you said it, I'm coming to your face with it. We're not gonna go through all of that. I don't do middlemen. So the only middleman I do is Jesus. I'm just saying. so we had a situation some years ago. Me and my son were in the shelter, and one of my aunts, like this is my blood aunt, one of my blood aunts, her husband had been helping me with my son. Her husband had been pretty much like hanging out with him. He was going through some things, and at like 12 and 13 years old, just trying to deal with life and understanding who he was as a person. And so they were helping me, and they would go out, like take the kids and go to the zoo, or take the kids and go, do different events with them. And then all of that stopped around the time they started working, which was fine. So after a while of us struggling through some things and we went homeless, I ended up losing everything, like literally because of where I was. I lost my house. I lost my I lost my apartment. I lost my job because they were in the same building. And so because they were losing that building, I lost literally everything. And I had just put everything into this place. So literally not having anything, got everything in the car. Me and myself was living in the car for a while. We went to the shelter. While we were in the shelter, um, my aunt's husband started trying to reach out to me to help again, and I was like, okay. There was like a situation right before we went from the car to the shelter. We went to my mom's house, and that didn't turn out well. Because too many grown people in one place ain't gonna work, and especially when you don't know the person that's in the house has dementia. Y'all watch the people around you. You gotta know what's happening. So we had a situation where the uncle, because we had started calling him our uncle and he's like the favorite, whatever. And so he had started coming. He walked in a snowstorm, y'all. And I thought it was strange for him to be in a snowstorm, but he claimed that he was coming past the house on his way home from work. And so I didn't think nothing of it. And he came to the house, and his thing was, I came by the house. My stepfather was like, he's downstairs to see you. I went downstairs. I was like, what's going on? Like right now, it's literally a snowstorm. We're in Chicago, so y'all can only imagine what this snowstorm looked like. It was bad. It's like, what are you doing here? He was like, I just came to check on you, make sure you were good, and all of this stuff. And then we heard what happened, and wanted to make sure you were okay. And I'm like, oh, I'm okay. Thank you for coming visit, checking on me, but it's a snowstorm. And that's when he was telling me about, well, my bus lets me off here. So I was just walking, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, you should get home because it's going to get worse. So I gave him a hug and didn't realize in that moment, because I'm like, it's cold, rushing, trying to get back up. That hug lasted just a little bit too long. Right. And I was like, okay, let it go. And it was like, okay, have a good day. He left. Didn't think nothing about it, went on about my business, and I'm still thinking about this storm. And then it started dawning on me, like, wait a minute, why would he get off down this way when they stay further east, right? So I don't pay no attention. I'm like, well, whatever. Maybe he went somewhere else. I don't know. So I move on. I don't bring it up. I didn't care about it. My thing was stepfather saw that he came there. It's not like I called him, so moved on. Well, while we're in the shelter, I get a phone call. I'm with my god sister, and she had come to get me, and she used to come on Tuesdays and come pick me up and take me to the store. So we went to the store, and this shelter, let me tell y'all this first of all, even though I have family and stuff, decisions, right? I knew that I couldn't depend on anybody in that season. So going to the shelter was a choice that I made to make sure I got back on my feet the right way that I needed to. And it was approved by God. I'm like, this is what I got to do. So I'm going to walk through this and step into this situation to do good. And I ended up doing good in the situation we were in. We helped some people out in the shelter. So everything isn't always detrimental. It's always for a purpose, right? So we get there and she's taking us to the store. And when we get to the store, my phone rings after we finish shopping. We're about to leave. And I was like, I'm gotta send my son back to get some milk or something. And I'm talking to my aunt's husband. He calls me. So he's asking me because we had talked about him meeting up with Brandon. And he wanted to talk to him about some things that Brandon was doing that was wrong in school, like really messing up. And so I'm like, I think it's because we're in the shelter, but I think he needs a man to talk to him. His dad wasn't around. So I let him, mentor him. So he was saying, bring him by the house or bring them by. We were going to do a public place or something like that. And I said, yeah, well, okay, you're confirming about going out to this place. Well, where is it? Right. So I'm like, okay, where are we meeting? And he goes, I guess the best place would be at the house, since your aunt to be at work. And he was like, maybe you and I could sit down and talk about what the plan is before we bring him in it. Listen, y'all, I ain't thinking nothing about this because I'm in my situation. And again, this is my uncle. I am not like this is literally they've been married for at this time maybe about 10 years. So I'm like, I'm really not looking at this any other way besides this my uncle trying to help me with this. I got a lot going on. Luckily my god sister is sitting there. While he's talking to me, he starts to go, wait a minute, do you know why I'm asking you to come over? And I was like, yeah, about Brandon. Still oblivious, right? And he goes, no, I've been in love with you for the past 10. Whoa, wait a minute. And squeeze me. So now I'm like stuck. First of all, I'm in a shelter. I'm going through some things. My son is acting up. I got a lot going on. Did you really just come in? Like, did you take advantage of my situation? I'm glad I never made it to that house because that's different. It's a different situation when you're in somebody's face than them being on the phone. So he starts rambling on about this relationship he wants to have with me or he's having with me in his head. Right, y'all, he's a deacon at a church. I'm sitting here like, what? Wait. So instantly, because I'm like, I'm so tired of people taking advantage of me in situations, I broke out in tears just standing there. Now, I'm not a person that cries. If I start crying, it really because either I'm really hurt or you finna get really hurt. That's normally what happens, right? So I break out and I start crying. So my god sister is standing next to me, who happens to be on my executive team. Listen, Eve ain't no joke. Eve grabs the phone from me, go, who are you talking to? And grabs the phone and puts it to her ear. So while he's talking, she now hears what he's saying. I don't know what he's saying at this point. I done blanked out like, are you serious? I done been through so much. Mind y'all that I've been through the rape and I've been through molestation and I've been through all of that stuff before this happened. So for me, it's just like, are you serious? The one person that I can trust right now with my kid, I gotta be worried about. Now I can't have this. This is not gonna work. Now I gotta find somebody else. And in my head, I'm running through this. Like we had plans. They had plans to go places. I can't let him go. I can't. And then I started thinking about my aunt. Like the way our family works is if you're caught up in it as a woman inside of a relationship outside of something happens like that, they blame you. They don't blame the person that did. They blame you. And I don't know why, but that's the way they work. So in my head, it's like I got enough going on. I ain't getting in that. That's between y'all. I ain't got time for this, and I'm just stuck. So my god sister's like, you need to get off the phone. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gone. I don't have time for this. I hang up with him, and Brandon walks up, and I'm like, B is like, Mom, are you okay? What's wrong? I'm like, nothing's wrong. We just need to go. So we drop him off at the shelter. We're sitting in the car, and me and my sister have a conversation about what happened. And she's like, what do you want to do? My thought was, I can't deal with this right now. If I stopped all of the production that I did, all of the process that I went through, if I stopped everything that I pushed forward in, if I stopped what I've been fighting for all of this time, getting myself together, getting myself aligned, putting myself back in place, if I stop, then I'm gonna be stuck in a situation. I just became a speaker for this shelter. I just became a prayer warrior on this line. I'm seeing where God is taking me. This ain't nothing but an attack from the enemy, and it's trying to stop me. But y'all, when I say I held on to that anger behind that thing, I had to make sure I was covered. I went so far because thank God that I was able to call my counselor and talk to her and let her know what I was feeling, because instantly everything started like draping. It was like a weight on me. I can't take this right now. Like, this is too much. Why does everything keep happening to me? Why is these different situations? Now I'm thinking about everybody else but my own stuff now. So I had to finish talking to my god sister. She was like, "Well, you got bag up. I heard what he said, and I know you ain't had nothing to do with this. So if it ever comes up, you got me." Oh no, word of mouth is not the way this family works. So I know what to do. So what I did was I sent him a message on Facebook, because you got to get smarter than your situation, right? So I got on Facebook and I sent him a message on Facebook. The first thing, he sent me a message on Facebook apologizing. I took that message and ran with it. Okay, so you're apologizing for what? Let's be clear. So I made him say what he was apologizing for. And then he had been asking me for pictures to add to the family photos that he was asking. Now, mind you, I found out I'm not the only one he was getting pictures from. It was like the family. So I'm sending him pictures. No, he had way too many pictures he downloaded from Facebook and all of this stuff, like almost stalkerish stuff. So I'm gonna delete the pictures because I understand that you didn't even know what they were for. What were you using my pictures for? Like, none of this made sense to me. So I'm sitting there going, okay. So I'm asking all of the questions. When I say I got all of the good information, I ran down everything of what we talked about, how it went down with him calling me at the store. So I have something that I've screenshotted and sent to my email in case I ever have to pull it up and say, this is what happened. And if it's me, then why are you apologizing? So I got smarter in my situation than that, but I held on to that anger for so long. Like, I blocked him on social media, and my family is talking to me anyway about my mom, but so that didn't bother me. But my whole thing was, you'll never get me caught up in a situation where I take the fall for you when it's your fault. I'm not doing that. But I was so angry. So I had to learn how to get past it. Like, I stopped going to my mom's church because he was there. I told his pastors a couple of months ago what happened. I'm like, this is because they were asking me why won't I talk to him. Well, this is why. Let me be blunt. This is the reason why. They did nothing. Nothing has happened with this. They haven't talked to him about it. They won't bring it up. Their thing is like, well, it happened a while ago. It did, but that doesn't mean that I have to have a conversation with him. Like, that's not something you want to put yourself in. But can I get past this? Yes. Want to know what I decided to do? I decided that I'm not going to that church. My mom's not there. There's no reason for me to be there. But I know that I'm in ministry, and I know that I may cross paths with these people again. I'm going to speak. Hello, how are you all? I'm going to keep on being the God given grace that God gives me. I'm going to put it on them to give you grace. I'm going to speak to you. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep moving. But I'm not going to deal with all of this. I'm not, because now at this point I feel like your leadership know, and that's their job to handle. They can take care of that. But for me, I'm gonna keep pressing. I'm gonna keep moving forward, and I'm gonna make sure that when I talk to people about people inside the church, exposing what people do inside the church when you have a title, making sure that you understand that you just can't do that to everybody else. I'm gonna make sure that I do that. So when I talk to young girls, just watch who you talk to. Never be in a room with anybody, and not woman, not man, by yourself with these closed doors having conversations that you shouldn't have. And if you ever feel uncomfortable, get out of it. That's what I've been doing, and that's what I'm gonna continue to do. So can I get past it? Yep, and I'm moving on. So that's me.
Oh, wow.
Listen, it's a lot to unpack in that, but I'm like, I don't have time to hold on to any of this. I have to move on from that. So sometimes you have to let it go. So Brian, where you at? Why do I feel like you pulling?
I'm listening. I'm gathering more information. I'm just listening.
Okay. So, with those situations, that's my can I move on from it? Yes, I can. And when I say I haven't talked about this in public at all, there was no reason to. For me, it was like I'm giving you too much power having you in the midst of a conversation. But today, God is telling us to go ahead and move on from it. Today, God is telling us to go ahead and line up with what He's calling us to do. And we have to let some things go. So that's one of my things that I'm definitely letting go of, is that even if I'm in a situation, somebody else's decision to act on my situation is still their fault. It's not mine. I don't have to take the blame for anybody else. I can do what I need to do for me and continue to move on. But just listening to everything. Now, mind y'all that my mother she was not really saying a lot, but she kind of figured out something happened. She knew something was wrong, and I talked to her about it because she said, "What happened there? Like something, I feel like something happened." And I told her, I said, "Well, Mom, I really don't want to get you involved in this because, what's happening around." And she just kept saying, "Hmm." So she went to him and said something because her thing was she knew something was wrong there, but she knows her daughter. So I left that alone. I don't know what happened from there, but nobody has brought it up to me and nobody has said anything else about it. So we moving on from this and we gonna leave this in the dirt where it is, okay? Because I don't have time for it. So this is my move on day with that. So anybody else, Kelly.
I actually, and moving on from it is perfect. But one thing I can say, I applaud you for even saying everything that you said, because at the same time, you have no idea who else that was done to, and somebody who may, or may hear this or hear of it, may be like, I went through a situation similar to that. I'm not alone, because I'm gonna be honest. A lot of times you feel alone when you go through certain situations. You don't know who you can talk to, and you really have no idea who you can trust. Especially when it's a person that you have so much trust in. So, excuse me, y'all. Yeah, I applaud that. So thank you for sharing, and thank you for moving on with it. We right with you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And I headed to Brian. Yes, Brian, go ahead.
I was gonna say, the one thing that really stood out to me was you were like, I chose to go to the shelter because I knew no one would like support me in this season. I can't trust nobody, and I feel comfort by God. And one of the things that I want to pull from that is there's a difference between having a season of being alone and being in a season and you're just lonely.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we confuse the two, and we make people that feel like, hey, I'm just alone. I'm just alone. We make them feel horrible, but sometimes that's what they need to gather themselves. I felt like if you weren't like separated, alone, that situation could have been a little bit different because you're inside of the family values. You're inside of you're connected with everybody, but the fact that you were separated, it was like as you were telling this, it was like, I couldn't put two and two together at the beginning, but then as it started to play out, and I'm thinking back on it, it started like red flag, red
Right.
flag, and I ain't bring that up. But the red flags only came in because you're separated. You're away from like the very thing, and I feel like some people need to hear that. Like, hey, it's okay when you're going through something. It's okay to have moments where you're alone. Uh, it's also okay to talk to somebody that you can trust and lean on. Because you were like, you said you had your god sister, or
Mm-hmm.
you had your god sister. So there's going to be somebody that's going to be there for you. But you have to like really say, okay, you know what? God's with me. I'm in this alone right now, and it's okay. It won't be like this always. So now let me gather up my thoughts. The Facebook thing, I mean, that was genius. I said,
Yes.
look at her being, I mean, for real, look at her being a detective. Because like Facebook, people are lax. People feel like they're secure. They get away with everything. So when you went to Facebook, I said, oh my gosh. He done. So like I just want to really emphasize on that alone part because it's really harming men and women because they're like they feeling like they're doing something wrong or they're in a season where they're being alone and it's okay because God is trimming. God is adjusting and
see what I'm saying? Let me hear
Oh, what's up, man? I ain't just jumped in. What's up, man?
it. Listen, you gotta understand the whole thing. One of the things that he did do, we I went to the church for something with my mom one time, and I had to run up there, and we had a situation in the church where, well, on the way into the church, I was coming to meet my mom outside, and my thing was just like get there. And so as I'm walking, I don't see him, and he kind of walks up to me while we're outside. And he goes to hug me, and I kind of put my arms out like, dude, this ain't what you want to do. You on the street, you in front of my mom. You think because nobody really knows what's happening or what has happened that you can walk up and touch me? No, I said if you put your hands on me, I promise you they're gonna be picking you up off the ground. And he just, well, I gotta, I'll be right back. I'm like, I don't care where you going. Just go. But when I got to my mom, that I think that's when she started noticing like something's wrong. So I gave her a hug and went inside the church with her to get something. And something he said to me just, it rubbed me the wrong way. I hate when people use church or use God in the middle of what they're doing wrong to try to make it right for them or to make you feel less than when they do stuff. I cannot stand that. And one of the things he did was I was sitting there and I had my back turned, but I was like getting my mom's stuff together. And I went to turn and he was sitting in the pew in front of me. And I turned around and I was like, what do you want? And he goes, well, God forgave me, so you should forgive me too.
No, ma'am.
I said to him very quickly, I'm sorry, I'm not God. I'm so happy that you went to the Lord with your situation. And hopefully he can heal you from whatever else. Because now you got me thinking, how many other women have you approached and you've been married to her? How many young women have you said something to? Should I be thinking like how many people have you brought to her house when she was at work? Because you're not at work. And he just started looking at me. I said, so unless you want me to start asking these questions out loud, I would say just walk away from me and leave me alone. But my whole thing was that you really try to use that God forgave you and I'm not godly because you feel like I should forgive you too. Well, I'll do that when I get there, but right now I'm not there. So I had to let that stay right there, and I was like looking him straight in the face, like I need you to understand though, you ain't talking to a punk. I'm not backing down. I'm right here in your face. I'm looking at you, and I see all of you. And so when he walked away from me, his pastor looked at me, and I just cut my eyes, and the pastor was like, well, "Do we need to talk?" I'm like, "We do." Not right now because y'all are so, they were so consumed by him, and they still are. Even when I brought it up, it was like brushed off. And I was like, yep. And this is why I didn't say at this church because you brush off things. So you have to see who's around you and understand what's happening. So I'm not even finna, get there. I'm just gonna move on from it and know that I did what I needed to do for me and my son because literally, because I had to let that go. I was angry, but I couldn't deal with it. And it was a reason for me not being able to deal with it. And I'm glad I had the common sense not to because I needed to focus on what I was doing. And not even a good month later, we were in our apartment or on our way to our apartment because I had to, well, a month and a half maybe, I had to go through some steps. And this would have threw me off. So if I'd have been thrown off, we would have been still either at the shelter or moving to a different shelter because you only have so much time at this one place. They had already extended me because they didn't want me to lead a program. I had become, me and my son had become like a face for the shelter to help them. So if I'd allowed all of this to happen and take over and I got consumed by it, none of what we had to go, I wouldn't be here because we used the shelter to get out of the shelter, to get back on our feet, to get into our 1 bedroom apartment that led us to our 2 bedroom apartment that led us to our condo. So I know now that everything doesn't need to be addressed right away. And when you know the person, especially the situation for anybody going, you should have told your aunt, you got to know my aunt. You got to know where her mindset would have been because I know her and I know where it would have been. And there was no point in that. There was not going to be a, I'm leaving him. There was not going to be a, this is his fault. There was not going to be any of that. It would have brought more drama to me than it would have been for anybody else. So moving on from that, does anybody else have a, can we move on from? And even listen to me, y'all. When you get up here, if you got one that you have not moved on from, you trying to figure out how. That's what we're doing today. So if you need help, we gonna try to help you. So I'm gonna call on Kelly Webb. What you got?
Let's see. One that I've already said the one that the few that I've moved on from. I think one that I maybe haven't moved on from is is a conversation with many people know well, I don't know if you would say I was in the mines. It's still a lot of things that I associate with when it comes to it. But there was a situation that happened, and with one of our um, captains, I guess you would say it's kind of like the elders and uh, pastors in church. I'm not really sure how I could associate those.
Right. We
But
figured
the
it.
comment that was made to me, not knowing the situation, um, it was a situation with an ex, and of course, leadership kind of got involved with it, even though it was way after the situation. But she made a comment to me that pretty much was like, I'm nothing. And, I'm out to destroy and all this other stuff. And I reminded her of her past situations without even understanding what was going on. I think that's probably one it's like I feel like I move on, but it comes back up. And, me and you have had conversations about this when it comes up. And it's like sometimes I feel like I just need to talk to her because I need you to understand that one, for you to be in a position you're in to talk down to somebody who's trying to shift or trying not to be the person that she was. Because I'm being honest, before I came or before I started going, I didn't care. I was kicking it at the club. I was still being, that awesome mom, or, quote unquote, in my eyes, that awesome mom, making sure my girls had whatever they needed, whatever they wanted, made sure that they had a house, made sure they were in a good school, all these things that you're supposed to do plus. But for me, I was hurt. I was, I think I was just lost. So I was trying to keep a portray up, keep a face for years. Because I always thought, I gotta make sure everything I'm doing is pleasing to my mom and everything like that. And I'm making my dad proud and, well, my bonus dad proud and all these things. My uncle, make sure when he look up, he's saying, my baby's still doing good. And those things are what my face, my movement was. But inside, it was like, I don't know who I am. I have no clue who I am outside of who everybody tells me I'm supposed to be, if that makes sense. So having her, who I started to think I could trust, who I'm gonna say looked up to, but I had a lot of respect for. I started to actually feel who I was or who I thought I was, but how quickly she tarnished that by letting me hear what I always used to hear of what I'm not, what I can't, who I remind them of. It did something to me, And I think out of everything, excuse me, y'all, out of everything, it was like I moved on from others that we've talked to or that were there because I've talked to them. I got to tell them what I felt, what it was, and what it did to me. Not just me, but my girls as well. She's the only one I haven't. And, unfortunately, I heard things happen health wise for her. Of course, I pray for her. But it still comes up sometime, that conversation, that day. And moving on from it, it's like I've half moved on, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it sounds like you're going through a process of moving on from things. It's you're taking your steps and you're moving around. But I know that we have talked about it, and I know that you talked to other people there, and they got to understand that. I feel like this would be something that would be received best if it came from you to her. I would say if making sure that she is physically able to even have this conversation. Like if she's going through something that's detrimental, I wouldn't bring it up. I would just let her deal with her life stuff and get her health back together. But if you ever have the opportunity to go and just say to her what you need to say because she's feeling better and up to it, then yes. If you don't get that chance because we don't know what God's plan is for her life, if you don't get the chance to do that, forgive her and let it go, because I've heard you talk about this situation and I know that was one of those things that it hits you, but all you have to do, Kelly, is look back at your life. Like literally everything that she said, you already know the situation, you already know what happened, and she didn't know the situation, but look back at your life. Whatever she said about you or said negative towards you, line that up. Is it lining up with what God has done for you? Is it lining up with who you are? It's not. If you look back over it, it really is not. Sometimes we have to cry through it. I forgive them from a distance. You may not ever get a chance to actually talk to her, but sometimes we have to get ourselves to the place of it's done, it's over. Because there's been a lot of things that I had to cry my way through. You forgiven from a distance. I don't have to put myself back in that situation again. I don't have to, because think about it this way too. If she one of them ones that stuck on what she said is what she said, she ain't gonna change her mind. She gonna hear what you said, but she gonna stick to her guns. So it's like, is it worth going through all of that? Is it worth going through all of that battle behind that one person when you talked to several people and they understood their fault in it? Can you let go of that one?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's you're right, a process that I've been going through. Because to be honest, um, even though and this is kind of maybe contradicting the same thing that I said, but I think because health wise, yeah, she's on to patient now. Um, I think, but because I know how I don't want to say how she is now because I haven't talked to her in I think 11 years, but I don't need anything to set me back. So I think that's the process that I'm on, is forgiving her from a distance and letting that specific conversation go. Every other part of it, of the situation that day, I think I let go. It's the replay of how can I let this conversation that came out of her mouth go. And that's the one thing I think I'm working on. It's like sometimes I feel like I did it. Sometimes I'm like, oh, but I'm noticing that it usually will come up when something is going on with me, or it sounds crazy, but it feel like when I'm moving closer to what I'm supposed to be doing, and I start following through, like when starting to dance and everything, the
Mm-hmm.
conversation will come up. You
That's
know, like
okay. That's a spiritual attack. Let's go ahead and address that now. That's a spiritual attack. That's not you just going back to what happened. That's literally a spiritual attack. That's the enemy using things that were said to you to hold you back from where you're going. You are now a mental movement, and it did not take it wasn't easy for you to do it. I mean, we walked through this together. So that year and me
yeah,
being like in that position to be a leader for that team and just watching you go through, that's an attack. The reason being is that you were persistent, you were sick, you were going through a storm, you still literally a storm, thyroid storm and all, and was pressing your way through. The enemy saw he couldn't catch you there, he couldn't catch you in your health, he couldn't catch you up in the things that was going around. But there's one thing that you've been holding on to. I'm gonna grab that and throw that at you. And you started to slow down.
yeah,
So I'm gonna stop you where I know it hurt because you looked up to this woman. This was a
hmm,
woman that you would have called your mentor.
yeah,
And because she said it, that's why it hurts so much. And it's okay if you want to talk to her just to get that off of your chest, go ahead and do that. If you feel like she might be still doing this to other people, then yes, definitely go ahead and have that conversation with her just so you can get what you need to get out from it. But don't let the enemy keep throwing that at you. Every time he throw it at you, you just, oh, no, that ain't me. Speak back to him because you know I do it and I do it out loud. So if I hit something,
that's true.
if something hit me and I hear the enemy come back and I hear my stepfather's voice telling me I ain't gonna be nothing but good for laying on my back, what do I say? I'll be like, nope, I stand up straight. Ah, that part. Y'all be looking at me funny.
We do, but we understand where he's coming from.
I'm like, I stand up straight and do great things. I'm just saying. F2G was not from off my back. F2G was standing up straight. F2G was in a shelter, coming out of a shelter, right in the midst of a storm of my own. That's where F2G formed from. So nope, wasn't laying on my back then. I start talking back to the enemy real quick every time he throwed it at me. Nope, wasn't doing that. I ain't getting nothing from laying on my back but Brandon. Let's talk about that.
Oh, where's the mute?
The best thing that ever happened to me in my life. Nothing negative came out of that. But yeah, I'm not gonna go there. But but the best thing was B. The best thing was B. So I'm like, sometimes you have to talk back to the enemy and shut him down. I don't even get those
Yeah.
that he can't when he figure out he can't use it against you, or when you start to tell other people like you just told us about it. When you start to tell other people about your story, they can't use it against you. That's the same thing with the enemy. He can't use against you what you already exposing.
That's true.
He ain't got no ammo.
That's true.
So you
That's
take back
true.
your power in that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate it.
Love you.
Well,
All right, Michelle, you up? What you got?
First, let me just say this. I just look at you, Tennille, as my lifelong distant identical twin when it comes
Amen.
to like situations. Like the more
Yeah.
that I hear and talk to you, the more I'm starting to realize that we have so many things in common as far as situations that we've been through in our
Yeah.
life. And it's just crazy how that's why I think that God has allowed us to connect
Mm-hmm.
because of that reason. So, okay, so my situation was kind of similar but different, but still similar. So, I'm like you, I'm trying not to say no names and pick my words, be mindful of the words that I use. But as a child, I was molested by my uncle.
Mm.
The difference is that this was my biological uncle, my mom's brother, and I have such fond memories of him as a younger kid. Like he molested me during when I was 8 years old, 9 years old. But prior to that, he was always the loving type of uncle. When the family come together, he was always the one that was, trying to bring that together, letting everybody know I love you, and he's always been that type of person. And I have such fond memories of him. He would gather up all of the nieces and nephews, pretty much all of the kids in the family every year, because he was a bus driver. And so he would gather up all the children in the family and take us to the parade, the Thanksgiving Day parade, every year. Every year, he'd come by and pick each one of us up from our house. We'd get on that bus and he would drive us down there. And, so it was just, really fond memories of him. And, he's my uncle and I love my uncle, But then when I turned 8 or 9 years old, he started molesting me. And what happened is my dad passed away and my mom was going through a thing where, it was really a horrible situation, surrounding my dad's death. So my mom was going through some things and she was starting school, and when it happened, I was in a school, and, because of things that were so rough, she, didn't want to take me out of the school that I was in, so I started living with my grandmother, which my uncle was staying with her. And so while my granny was sleeping, he would come and get me out the bed and take me in the bathroom, and yeah, you can imagine. So, um, and I feel horrible because he basically took away my innocence, and I could remember myself saying, "Uncle, what is that?" Like, I'm just a kid with questions like, "What are you doing? What is that, Uncle?" And he'll put his finger up to my mouth. "This between me and you. Don't tell nobody." That type of stuff. So anyway, um, my grandmother ended up moving to another state, and so him being a mama's boy, he left and went out of state as well. So, like I said, he was a bus driver when he was here. So when he got down there, he got a career as being a bus driver, public bus driver there. And they were there for any 20 or 30 years. So as time went by, I kind of suppressed the memory of him. It just went away. And so then my grandmother decided to move back to Michigan. Years later, I'm talking 20, 30 years later, 25 years later. So lo and behold, once my uncle retired, he come back to Michigan, I guess following his mama, which, I mean, ain't nothing wrong with that. If you're a mama's boy, you're a mama's boy. But, then we would start to have family gatherings, and then it started coming back to me. All the stuff that he used to do, like, it started haunting me, like, in my sleep, and, then I would say, "Oh, yeah, he did, he used to," in my mind, because I guess, because I was like, I don't know, when things bad happen to us, maybe at a young age we tend to suppress it or whatever, but when he got back, all those memories started flooding in, and it started to bother me, and I was feeling uncomfortable being around him, and it was just really bad emotionally for me. He's all in your face, "Hey niece, I love you, give me a hug," and you never did nothing to me. Like, I know that now I'm a grown woman and stuff, but I didn't forget that stuff. So I was very close to my aunt, and me and her talked every day. So because I was going through that, she knew, like, "See, what's wrong?" Like, and so I told her. I never told my mom. I never told nobody. And I don't know why, I guess because when I was a kid, he said, "Oh, it's our secret." And so I never told nobody. I didn't know at the time that it was bad. Like, I was completely innocent in it. And so I told my aunt about it, and my aunt, she don't play, okay? She ain't never been one. So obviously she went back and said something to my uncle about what he did to me. And so probably about a week or two later, after I told my aunt about it, I get a phone call from my uncle. He tells me that, "I just wanted to call you and apologize to you for what I did." He said, "I knew I was wrong." He said, "I've already went to God and asked God to forgive me, but I know that in order to really complete this process, I need to call you and apologize to you as well and ask you for forgiveness." So I apologize. I mean, I accepted his apology. It took me some time to really, really accept it in my mind, because when you going through this emotional trauma that happened to you as a kid, and then it comes back on you as an adult, it's like twofold. And so I had a hard time with it, but I chose to forgive him, right? So, I always felt close to my uncle, and he's always reached out to me over the years and stuff, even when he lived out of state, but the memories didn't just come back until he physically was back in town. So, and then when I would go to Indianapolis to visit my grandmother, I would see him, of course, and it was good. He was who he was. He was that loving zero in on making the decision to forgive him. He calls me at least once or twice a month. Hey, niece, how you doing? I love you, and just telling me what's going on in his life and all this stuff, right? So now it's getting to a point where, okay, so my mother passed away. We have a lot of people in the family that's passed away, and because of my ministry that I have, pre-planning and stuff, I really, really, really want to reach out to my uncle, and I even talked to him about it and told him I'm gonna come over and we're gonna sit down and go over your plans, whatever you want. I'm gonna type it up for you, and then you can just put it in your file cabinet, and so that when that time comes, your sons will be good, and they will know exactly what you want done. He's like, okay, cool, that's good, Nisha. I'm okay with that. But now I find myself in a position where I really, really, really want to help my uncle out. But I'm literally afraid to go over there by myself. So what that tells me is that I haven't completely, I don't know if it's a matter of that I haven't completely forgiven him, because in my heart I feel like I have. But when it comes to things alone, so when it comes to me having to go over there and help him out with this ministry of mine, I find myself trying to ask my husband to go with me, or making wanting his son to be there when I come, and just making it so I'm not there alone with him.
Mm-hmm.
And so that tells me that I'm not really over it, but I really, really, really want to do it. So my sister is an insurance agent, and so my uncle's also been in a position where he's starting to lose his memory a little bit, and he's got these young girls coming in trying to, want to take his money and all this stuff. So his son called me, like, we gotta get my dad's stuff in order, because he dealing with these ladies. He talking about marrying this young girl, and she trying to get him to sell his house. It's a whole bunch of craziness. But this is the stuff that I'm really adamant about not happening to him, because it happened to my mom. That's a whole nother story. But he got taken advantage of, and this man stole all of me and my sister's insurance money, and like, he just really took my mother for a ride in her illness. She died of
Mm-hmm.
Alzheimer's. So like, this hit me like a ton of bricks, because I definitely don't want the same thing to happen to my uncle that happened to my mother. So I know that it's really important for me to do that. So my sister is going to go over there with me to take care of his insurance needs, and I'm going to take care of his pre-planning needs. But that still doesn't negate the fact of my fear being alone around him.
Yeah. Well, Michelle, first of all, congratulations on even being able to tell your aunt. I am so happy that you were able to do that. It's not. It doesn't have to be that you haven't forgiven him. When you started saying that, all I kept hearing was she's been traumatized. It's trauma, and trauma sticks with us for years. That sort of thing doesn't really leave. Little things can trigger that. You can be in a room and smell something, and it'll take you back to that place. Or you can be somewhere else and something happens, and just off of hearing certain words can trigger you into going back into that place. I was going to suggest, before you even said that you had people going with you, was not to be alone with them, because you don't know what might trigger. And like you said, you talked to him over the years over the phone. Over the phone is one thing, but to be in a closed in place with the person that traumatized you and that molested you. I know for me, I couldn't be in the same room with my molester. I was like, I can't, no, because right then it's all that fear comes back. You start thinking about all of that stuff, and then it's forgiving yourself, because we will blame ourselves for what happened to us when we were children, like it was our fault. Because if for some reason, as women, we seem to take the blame for everything that happens to us. and we hold on to it. But it's not your fault. It was never your fault. So at some point, you have to take the moment to say, I forgive me for even thinking
Yeah,
it was my fault. And it
yeah,
wasn't your fault. And to say that to yourself, I promise you, I still look in the mirror and go, everything that happened to you under the age of 18 that you didn't decide about was not your fault.
yeah.
I mean, literally.
You know, I had to really forgive my grandmother as well because it happened when I was under her care. But then as I got older and I had to look at the situation, like Granny didn't know nothing about it.
Right.
Every time he did it, she would sleep. He would come in the middle of the night when she's in a deep sleep.
Yeah.
And so she never knew nothing. And I never told her. I never told anybody. So I had to tell myself, why are you mad at her? She didn't know nothing about it.
Yeah.
You know, and just because you were under her care at the time when it was happening, she was innocent in it because she didn't know. Because I know that she definitely would have addressed it and probably talked him over the head if she found out about it.
Right.
But you know, I just had to come to that. I had to make myself get those feelings like and not saying that I wasn't around my granny or treated her any type of way because I love my granny and I was very, very close to her. So it wasn't that. It was just things going on in my head. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, even with that, looking at the stuff that you've already gone through, like I know that we can get to a place where this person was around, but it, like you said, didn't know. I blame my sister for the molestation because she just up and moved away. And so, me being in the car with my mom's friend, I was no longer with my sister. So, I blamed her for years. And I mean, years. It was like, what, 20 something years later when I said something about it. And we were at a retreat and our relationship already wasn't good, but I had that one thing that I blamed her for, and I was like, this is not her fault. And during the retreat, it was a women's retreat, we started talking about letting go of old hurt, and they gave us the mic and gave us the opportunity to talk about it. And I had to get up. And now, mind you, that my sister was abusive to me. She was mean to me. She was, all of that. So I had stacked up some stuff that I could say, I can blame you for this because you do all of this other stuff to me. But this one thing that I blamed her for literally was not her fault. So I started compartmentalizing a lot of things in my life. And so I stood up and I said, I got to say, before I say what happened, I do want to apologize to my sister. And everybody's like, what in the world? Like, we weren't talking at all. And I was like, I'm apologize to you because I blame you for this situation. And it's really not your fault. All you did was grow up and move on. So even though she wasn't really protecting me, I felt like her existence when we had to get in this car, when we had to go with this friend, was my protection. And when you moved, you left me open. So here I am, 15, 16 years old, being molested by my mom's friend. So I had to tell them what happened. I told them the story about what happened. And my sister was like stuck. She didn't know. She's like, "What in the world?" So now she's like standing up, like, "What are you talking about?" So when I started telling her about what happened, because I didn't call names then either, I just kind of told the story, and I just wanted. I was like, "I gotta let this go." And I said, "We don't get along outside of this. It has nothing to do with this thing, but this thing right here, I have to release." And so I let her go from that. But afterwards, she stopped. She was like, "What? Okay, specifically, what are we talking about?" So when I told her what I was talking about, she was like, "Oh my God, I always thought that dude was creepy." She was like, "He never tried anything with her. He never tried anything with me around her. She didn't think anything would happen." But she was like, "I can see why you thought I just left you open." So I was like, well, I'm letting that go. But that trauma like stuck with me for a long time until I did that. But my thing was I couldn't get to him anymore. But I can blame for this. This is where I needed to get that through. But for you, Michelle, I love that you've already figured out that it wasn't her fault. She did not know. You looked at the whole situation. I love that you were able to talk to your aunt. And even now, you being able to even help him after what he did to you, woman of God. Come on. That ain't
Amen.
nothing but God. For you to be
Amen.
able to go back and help him in general is is amazing in itself. That talks about who you are as a woman and where you came from. Even from that, that situation didn't block you. That situation didn't stop you. You still moving, and you going back to help save the life and the memories that he have and his family's legacy after all the stuff that he took away from you.
Yes, amen. I really feel like his apology was genuine. You know, he wasn't cocky about it, and you know, and so I know that God, because of the God-fearing woman that I am, I know that I'm required to forgive,
Mm-hmm.
and forgiveness is a choice, and so you have to make up in your mind to choose to forgive, you know, to choose to let go. And I've done that with his situation. And then when Brian was talking and he was saying about how, you know, things keep coming. I don't know if he got a sick sexual, you know, he's always been the type that everybody come around, anybody bring their girlfriend, he want to flirt with them. Like he's always been that type, to the point where he's called me recently and say, "Hey niece, you got any friends?" Like it's like, Uncle,
Wow.
first of all, I tell him, I say, first of all my friends ain't nowhere near your age, and they don't want to be bothered with no old such and such old amen. Like, I don't have no friends, but if anybody come about, I'll let you know, so it's like it's just the enemy trying to into what I've decided. Like he's trying to turn my forgiveness around and make me remember all those things, you know, because again, when he calls and asks me stuff like that, it brings me back to the memory. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
But I still choose to love my uncle and forgive him because, and I pray for him. You know,
Yeah.
that prayer is the one thing that we have that nobody can take away that gets results.
Mm-hmm.
And I just continue to pray for my uncle and pray that God release him of this sick thing that he's got going on inside of him. And I don't know if there's anybody else that's been affected, if he's trying anything with anybody else or females, period. It might not even been kids, but the fact that you know, he has this thing going on, I just pray for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thanking God that he's given me a way to still to be able to go over there and look out for my uncle and do my ministry that he gave me. God gave me this ministry. And so he know that it's in my heart, number one, to take care of all my family. Like family is first. So because you know, people have this thing about death and they don't want to face it, they don't want to prepare for it, they don't want to do nothing concerning it. I want to start with my family first and make sure that they're all good and everything is all set, you know. And so God knows my heart, and so He's given me an out and an opportunity to, you know, take my sister over there. And you know, when you're faced with a situation that you really kind of want to run from it, but you know that it needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
My sister called me the other day and she said, "Hey sis, when we going over Uncle's house?" You know, so it's like God is pushing me to do it, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe doing this will help me to get over some of it. You know, being in His presence will help me. You know, and so I don't know if maybe one day I need to talk to him about it to really, really get free. You know,
Yeah.
even though because when he apologized to me, that's all it was I apologized. I asked God to forgive me, and I told him, okay, I accept your apology. We didn't really, really talk about it.
Right.
And so I want to find out. So, Uncle, what made you do that? You know, I just want to ask some questions, and I know that in order for me to really, 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 really get over it, I'm gonna need to have to face it
that I think that having that conversation with him while he's still coherent to be able to do it would be the best thing, and not wait, because there's a lot of things I want to talk to my mom about that she could not respond back to me because she didn't know what I was talking about at all. So it'd be the best thing is to do it soon. My other thing was to ask you, did you ever get counseling for it? Did you ever talk to anybody about it that was a professional?
Nope, I never did.
Even at the grown ages that we are, let me tell you that that's something you want to do. The reason being is that it's somebody who does not know you, does not know him, does not know your family, and they're only going to talk to you on the level of where they are as a professional. And so a lot of those tactics that they give you to use when you're in the room with that person, or a lot of things that they tell you to do when you're home alone, and the memories start to flood back. They help. They help a lot because I use a lot of those techniques when I'm having a panic attack around certain people that I can't remember what might have happened or what could have happened, or I feel like somebody's trying to attack me. I'll feel it from behind me like something's wrong if somebody gets too close. I've learned to calm myself in spaces like I'm not real good in big places with a lot of people. And so I have to adjust because with what we do with media, I can't not be okay.
Yeah,
Like I need to be able to be around the people I need to be able to around. I need to be in crowds. I need to be on red carpets. I need to, all of those things. And I need to be okay while I'm doing it. So I have
yeah.
to walk through those steps. But also another question I had was, have you told your sister yet?
And my sister knows.
She knows.
She
Okay.
knows.
And that's a
Yeah,
good thing because now you have a support system. You have a support system within your family that now when you go there, she understands what the problem is. She'll know that if something happens, she can kind of glance and see, you're not okay right now. Let's take a moment, take a
yeah,
breath. If you need to step out and take a moment while you're there, take a breath and go back and say, God, my forgiveness is real for me. So I need to be able to get past this part. And she could even sit through you talking to him because she knows.
yeah. It's crazy because the reason why I ended up telling her, and this was been some years ago, but still, when our kids are grown now, but when our kids was little, they had an issue with letting my children go anywhere. Like,
Yeah.
because of what happened to me, in those doors when somebody was sleeping, I had an issue with even letting my kids go to her house, go to anybody's house. I wanted
Hmm.
my kids home with me because I knew that I was the one that could protect them.
Yeah.
So then my sister started, I would let them go sometimes because you know how them cousins are. Can I go see my cousin? Because I come over auntie. So there was times where I couldn't say no. I had to loosen up a little bit and let them go over there. But then I would call and be like, hey, what the kids doing? So my sister would get mad. What are you calling worried about what they doing?
Yeah.
They doing that. You know, she would get angry at me. So I finally decided that who you think you are, who you think your kids is this and blah, blah, blah. Like, she went off on me. And so I had to tell her because I had to let her know why I was that way.
Yeah.
And it's like, if we don't protect our children, who's gonna? You know what I mean? So I had to really, really tell her the whole story so that she would see why I was so protective of my kids and why I kept them home with me and didn't want them to go nowhere. So, yeah.
Yeah, it can, and that sort of thing. I know that it can be traumatic to the family because they're thinking like you don't trust me and I'm your sister, but it definitely brings you back to a place of okay, I have to be realistic that they're looking at me like, what do you think I'm gonna do something to your kids? But they don't know your situation. So, the scars
Right.
that we hold can become scars for our families if we don't fix it because it'll keep going generational. So we want to fit, heal our scars so we can let them be healed so they don't get scars. You
Yes,
know,
absolutely.
you're amazing. I love you, Michelle. We're gonna talk soon, like in person. I
That too,
appreciate y'all. Yes. I am so excited about this conversation, y'all. We are talking about can you get past it? And as y'all can see, we're working through some things. So, yes, can you move on from it? And sometimes Moving on means that you have to approach it. Sometimes moving on means that you have to let it go. Sometimes moving on is just you getting centered with God. The more you get closer to Him, the more you can set yourself up to go forward. That's for those that are believers, and for our non believers, because we don't attack you over here. That's not what we're doing. Non believers, that's your chance to get into your place of meditation and motivation, and allow whatever's happening around you to happen around you for it to be a betterment for yourself. The reason I say it like that is because you never know God, when God gonna step in or when He doesn't step in. I know He's there with you. You may not feel like He is, but I'm saying that we're praying for you. We're making sure that you're covered, all of us, and that we're able to move on with what God is calling us to do in today. Hey, Mamie, I see your look hands up. Mamie, look, you and them emojis. We have to watch you. So we've been sending out our invitations to come up and speak because we are in a serious conversation. This conversation this morning is, can you move on from it? And yes, this is normally when we're on here, we're joking, we're laughing, but this situation, God was like, hey, this is the time for us to talk about it. This is the time for us to do it. We'll be back at 1 p.m., of course, being our loving fun selves for our afternoon social. But I'm going to keep it going because I feel like there's something else in the midst. I do want to welcome my son is in the building. He must be on a break. Be Snow, how are you? Is he still with us? Or maybe not. He's just listening in. Got it. Okay. So I'm sending out invitations to come up and speak. If you have a situation that you've gone through that you may want to talk about, or you have a situation that you are going through and have not figured out how to move on from it, that's what we're here to do. None of us are professional counselors. I can only give you what I have and what God has given me to say. And so that's what we're doing today. We're having a conversation. So if you want to join up here and talk about anything that you've gone through, that you need to make it through, or that you feel like I'm almost there, but it's something holding me back, then this is the time to do that. We are F2G Radio. So if you are on the radio station right now, you have a chat. You can talk through that chat, and I'll be your mouthpiece today. If you are on Faithful to God Network on YouTube, you also have a chat. I'm looking at the chat now, the comments now. You can go ahead and drop that information in there if you want to go through that way, or you can join us on Clubhouse on f2g.network. And if you're on Facebook, f2g.radio, you also have a chat. You're listening to us live right here. So we are going to continue to move forward with everything that we're doing. We're excited for you, through you, and about you today. Okay. So let's go. We still moving. Kelly, did you have anything you want to add to or say to Michelle? You can.
Um, I literally been sitting over here, like, to be honest, in awe of both you and Michelle's story. Michelle, I second what Tina said. I applaud you for even saying something, anything. Because I think, in my opinion, it's always the first step. You know, just being able to open your mouth and start to allow those words to come out. Um, and to Neil being able to apologize to your sister for something that she wasn't aware of. I applaud you for that too. But not really bad.
That book ain't because you know my sister. Move on.
It was, well, yeah, that too. But I think a situation like what y'all went through is a lot. Like, okay, I mean, I understand how it feels to, go through assault. I was raped twice, one by an ex-boyfriend and one by a boyfriend's brother. So, oh, I actually just said that out loud on the radio.
Mm-hmm. You did.
Wow.
Amen.
Yeah. Wow. So I get it. Um, I get it.
I need you to do
It's,
yourself a favor real
it's,
quick because you still stuck on. I just said that on the radio. Just take a breath and blow it out.
yeah.
It's a difference when you say it for the first time publicly than when you see it and it's just you and a friend. It's different.
Yes, it is. So I'm a try to not to push past this, but I'm gonna keep going. It's hard, it's a lot, for especially when it's people that you trust. Like for me, I told his best friend, my ex boyfriend's best friend. I told him, and he told his sister, and me and his sister actually almost got into a fight because he said I was lying. And he actually had to tell her, listen, that she's not lying. And, I did do this. I didn't mean to. It just kind of happened. Um, it's my partner was in the house with both my daughters and my mom.
Yeah.
But, and when I told about my ex-boyfriend's brother, it was two roommates and my ex-boyfriend in the house, you know, at that time. And I know they heard me and did nothing. But yeah, so I did, I actually had the roommate dump me because we got put out of our apartment because we were all sharing an apartment. Um, so yeah, I got dumped because of that. And those things they're hard. They're hard to talk about. They're hard to accept. Um, I think for me, I'm really good at just forgetting and just letting go of. So I applaud y'all for even being able to say it and talk about it and even letting it go.
And you're gonna be able to
Um,
do the same thing. You're gonna be able to talk about it more now and be able to let it go. But your let go is gonna be in a level of you being able to breathe through the talking about it, because I know that sometimes we kind of hide what we're going through just so we don't have to deal with it. We try not to address it because we don't want to confront it again, and literally because we're not blasting the person that did it. All of those emotions are hitting us, and it doesn't have to be molestation, it doesn't have to be rape, it could be abuse from physical form, emotional form, verbal form, just anything like that. It always hits us when we don't have that person to blame, and then you start looking at, I don't want it to formulate because what if it brings out something else in me? Well, holding it in actually is just it festering to come out as an explosion. Then when it comes out, you don't know where it came from and all of these emotions. So getting the opportunity to even bring it up today and saying it in front of other people, I am so proud of you. And I know you weren't intended for that to happen, but it has happened. We have talked about it several times. And now just being able to hear you say it out loud, and yes, on live on radio, so the world can hear it. Now the enemy can't use it against you, and nobody else can. It is
Amen.
what it is. So I need you wipe your face because I know you. Get your stuff together over there. She done left us, y'all. She ain't in Chicago no more. I can't run and go hug her. she she back home now. So, take this moment to, breathe through it and just know that you are okay, and you're even gonna be more on your way to being okay because you talked about it. And it's no longer a secret. But I need for one of the things I need for us as women and men, because there are some men that go through this too. It's not just women. We are not victims because we are talking about it. That doesn't make you a victim. That makes you victorious. If you can speak about what happened to you, what went on through your life, what growing up was like, having to deal with all of the extra, down to poverty, everything does not make you a victim. It makes you a victor, because now you're talking about it for other people to understand that they are not alone. And not that we're like misery loves company, so we're bringing in other people. Nope. Powerful people and support people love supportive people. So we are people that support others. We are a group of people that have gone through some things, and we want to make sure that you don't have to go through the same things we went through. We are a group of people that support people to make sure that you understand that even if you're going through what we've been through, we came out. So look at me. Look at me and use me as your motivation to get to your next. How can I help you get there? How can I make this easier on you? How can I make this not such a hard deal where every time you open your eyes, you think you're a failure, or you think you messed up, or you're blaming yourself for somebody else's actions, or you're walking through life hurt? We have teachers on here. We have mentors on here. We have graphic designers on here. We have pastors and preachers that come on the show. I am a minister, ordained and licensed. I am not here to minister to your heart about you not being right before God. That is not what I'm doing. God brought me on here to do something totally different. And it's to make sure you understand that we go through things in life, but we come out of things through life. We go through. That's the thing. You go through it. You didn't get stuck at the beginning of it. You didn't get stuck in the middle and give up. You went through. The only way you can go through is to come out. So when we come out on the other side of it, we're looking at who we are as people and as a person, and just knowing that I was chosen to live another day in this life. That for me as a believer, God breathed into me another breath and was like, okay, yeah, this is, you got something today. Go ahead and plant that. Here's the seed that I want you to plant today. So there's some work for you to still do here. And I'm gonna keep doing my work until it's done. So if I gotta keep speaking on it, if I gotta keep praying for you all, if I gotta open myself up and tell about my dirt, the things I did, what I said, how I reacted, all of that, then I'm gonna do it. Why? Because I want to make sure that other people have what they need to have to get to their next. And I don't care if it's where my name is gonna be drugged through the dirt, or somebody's gonna bring me up, or I'm gonna be on TMZ. I was watching something this morning, y'all. That's where I got TMZ from. Or or it's gonna be a thing where in the church this is this, that, and the other. I got a good publicist that does great conflict resolution. So I'm not worried about that. I can't I couldn't care less.
Right.
Right, Kelly? Period.
100% period.
I'm not worried about my reputation. I used to. I don't know more. Hey, Maya. I used to. I don't know more. I can't worry about what other people think about me. I have to worry about what God says. I have to worry about your spirit and how you are doing. Because there's something in you that needs to be planted into earth that could probably help my grandchildren. And I need you to do it. And that's a personal thing for me, because I feel like there's so much stuff, books to come out, events to happen, productions to be put on, life training coaches to be at, teachers to be teaching. I need you to be in your place, because I don't know what bloodline is gonna come from me that needs you, or that's gonna hear this today and they're going to be saved, delivered, helped out, restored from it. I need to make sure that not only my bloodline, but the rest of the world is doing better too, because my purpose in life is to leave this earth better than what it was while I was in it. Even if it's just a little bit, even if it's just in my community. Yes, ma'am, Michelle.
I was just saying amen to that.
As we got to just make a decision. We talked about that today. Yes, you can get past it. Can I get past it? Can I move on from it? And my answer has been, before we even started the conversation, to talk about anybody's issues or anybody's situation or what they came out was, yes, you can, because you chose to. That was before the conversation. I had to put that out there. There is no no in this. Yes, you can. Choose to. Make the decision, make a plan. And if you're a person that needs to write everything down, write it down. Write out the plan on how you're going to get through this. I know it sounds strange, but the word says write the vision, make it plain. Your vision is that you are healthy, that you're healed, you're delivered, and you set free from it. Write it down. This is my situation. Break it down from my situation to what it is that happened. Sometimes you have to see it like that. What part of this did I play in it? That's one of my biggest things for me, is did I play a role? Did I play a role in it? What was my role in this? Was any of this my fault? I scanned stuff. Was any of this my fault? That situation that happened with my uncle, was it my fault? No. I went back. I even asked him on that Facebook message, what did I do to make you think that was okay? And his answer was nothing. So I know this is not my fault. I know this is not something that I conjured up. I know this wasn't me. So now I need to move from that. So what do I need to do to fix me in this area? Break that thing down. Make sure counseling is in it. You need to talk to somebody. And not somebody that's gonna pat you on the back. Not somebody that's gonna massage your it's okay. You're fine. No, if you had a part in it, get somebody that's gonna tell you, yo, you played a part in that. So let's talk about it. And if you didn't play a part in it, get somebody that's gonna be like, okay, you didn't play a part in it, but this your part right now. Don't get somebody that's gonna be like, I'm sorry that happened to you, and they help you become that victim. No, you want victim support. I don't have that. I That's not my area. Sorry. Got to go back to the drawing.
This is good. This is unknowingly is better um than what was expected. So I have to, before we even get close to closing out, I definitely want to give you your flowers right now and say I truly appreciate every single thing you do, just being you, just being real, being raw, being honest, but also being caring, loving, and obedient. So thank you so much for everything.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that,
I
man.
agree. Thank you for your yes, because it's because of your yes that we're on here today, even in other days, being able to let it out, release, and it just really helps just to talk about it and to have someone to listen and to have compassion and that can offer, suggestions and stuff. So again, here's up to you, Tennille. I really appreciate you and I love you.
Oh, thank you all. Listen, I tell y'all every morning, I ask God, what would you have me talk to your people about? And this was his choice. This is what he gave me this morning. And I was like, okay. So I get the title, and then he makes me figure out how I'm going to play it out. Well, how you going to set this up this morning? Because that's it. And I go for it from there. Okay, well, this is what I'm seeing, God. This is what I think you're showing me. So let's go. So I give all honor and grace to him. To God be all the glory. Because I was like, well, God, if I can talk about it, I know I can have them. Either they going to listen, they going to hear it, they going to understand it, or they going to come through and tell me some stuff that I ain't heard, and I'm going to hear it and understand it, because you never know what you all are teaching to me. You, Michelle, coming back and saying that you're helping the person that abused you, that's a big one for me. Like, I keep thinking like, yeah, because I had to go help somebody who abused me and I didn't understand. And I mean, he kept abusing me. It was like, wasn't, but it was a more of a verbal abuse by the end. It went from physical, my stepfather, from physical to verbal, and a whole lot of emotional during all them years. And so I was like, I got physically abused, but doing the verbal and the emotional, I was pregnant with Brandon and still trying to help this man. And what did he turn around and do? Use me to put him in a situation where he can verbally abuse me again. And that's what pulled me away from helping people. But to hear your story now, it's like I got to get back to. I'm still gonna help. I'm still gonna do. I'm still gonna push. I'm not gonna just stay back. So yes, this is what it is for me. Oh, thank you, Miss Mamie said. Thank you for your beautiful spirit. I appreciate you so much, Miss Mamie, for coming on. I do want to give Maya a chance to talk. I know she at work. Maya, are you there?
I am. Thank you for the space. I can't really speak on the topic because I'm at work. But it is a beautiful space, and I am grateful to be in it. I love y'all.
Oh, we love
Happy
you
Thursday.
too. We love you so much, Maya. We have got to really work on this. Listen, y'all. Kelly knows this is like my heart. My team and I have been talking about coming in to see you all and not having y'all come to us, but like just trying to make plans to have y'all around, but to be able to travel, hop in a car and do road trip and just come to where you are and get a chance to see you. I think that right now Miss Michelle is closer to us than Maya is, but we want to, even if we all can't be together until October, I'm putting this out there. So if we all can't be together until October, because the gala is happening in October. So everybody has to come to us. But if we can, and even Miss Mamie, wherever you are, just I want to be able to come to you all and sit and have a conversation and do it live. I want people to see that we come to our people that we're talking to on Clubhouse. And these are actual people that are living the lives that they're saying they live in. So just to be able to come out and just have a conversation, get it on record, record some of the stuff that we do, have some fun, get some good eating in, Miss Michelle. We ain't forgot. Get some good.
I'm all for it. Let's do it. Whenever you're ready, just let me know. I'm all in.
Yes, I got a story I need to tell Miss Michelle for what she's doing in business, and I want that to be in person. I don't want to have to do that over the phone. I really want to get there and talk to her because God is opening me up to be able to tell my story in different ways. And so I want to be able to sit and actually give that to her the way it needs to be given to her so that she can do what she needs to do with it. So it's like if I'm gonna do it, we might as well do it the way we do it, F2G style, F2G on the move. Yeah, for y'all who don't know. Oh wait, Miss Mamie in Georgia, Kelly.
For real? Miss
Yeah,
Mamie, what? Hold
Miss
on.
Mamie,
Wait,
inbox and send a message to Kelly, or Kelly send a message to Miss Mamie so she can respond to you. Where are you
I'm
at?
doing it right
Okay,
now.
well, let her know
Let's
where you
see.
at, cause Kelly's in Georgia. So that's just amazing for us. I mean, we done been down to Smyrna for retreats that we done had. We are trying to make our retreat another. I don't even know where we're going this year. Brandon hasn't told us yet, but trying to figure out where we're going so we can get to our next F2G retreat. And this will be our first network retreat. We've had the executive retreat a couple of years straight, and then we are now expanding it out to our network, which means that all of those who are on the show. So Apostle Daryl O'Neill and Masiach Ministries, Ruach Church, we're all going to be getting together to do our networking and our time for a retreat, which is to restore us so we can go into our next year of ministry on the radio. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to expand out so the teachings that we get, all of the motivation that we get for ourselves is now turning into us turning around from our first 2 days of getting poured into to pouring into them. And so we'll be getting a chance to pour into them, and then we all get poured into get together. And then the last couple of days is just be F2G being F2G, probably at somebody's amusement park. That's what-
I'm
Yes.
coming.
Look at what she. That's literally what we do. Like that's what we do. We do it every September. So we putting it out there every September is our that's our I hate saying hiatus like that, but that's our time to sit down and restore. So we do take a sabbatical in September, and we also take a sabbatical in December that's been ordered by the Lord. Like we got that one for Prophetess Tanya. She said December y'all ain't able to move. And when I tell y'all last year we didn't move, and this was the first time that we all came back extra restored and ready to rock and roll, we was like, let's go. Because we're not used to that. We're used to moving. We used to every day we're doing something. Every week we're doing something. And so that December was amazing for us just to be able to hang out with each other, talk to each other online. And we just came back with more of a just exuberant, just our mindsets were on 25,000. I think when we came back for January, it's like we got to go. And everything that's been going on, it gave us time to deal with our own personal stuff, time to just move forward. There was no hiding. It was a place for us to figure out who God was for us in this season and to grab hold to Him and say, okay, you still that same God. It's just now I got to be a different person. So we did that, and that was amazing in itself. But September, we don't really stop working in September. We're supposed to take a full on sabbatical, but our sabbatical is literally us not being on the radio. So you'll hear like replays throughout that month, and you'll hear replays in December from the whole team because everybody, the network is off in December. It's not us. So everything you hear in December is literally nothing but replays or pre-recorded events. Now we do pre-record for December so we can play fresh stuff and we don't have to worry about it being like where they go. No, it's still there. That's the way we set it up because God said to. And we will be doing it every December and focusing in on our worship teams and stuff in our home churches and making sure that we are serving in the capacity that we're called to. So we're excited about it. Can't wait to get you all around us to hang out with us and do what we do as a network, but just excited to be able to have these type of conversations. And I don't think this one is going to be one that goes away too much. I kind of feel like this going to be a weekly thing, like or a monthly thing. We'll be setting up this conversation. Can you move on from it? Yeah, that's going to be a regular thing. Like we're going to make sure that we're able to bring that back because you never know what can happen to somebody in a month and they need to come and talk about it. And so we would definitely be doing that. And it's a safe place for us and a safe space for you all because y'all know that if somebody try to come at somebody, me and my mods be on it. No, you're not gonna do that. That's not what we're doing today. Goodbye. Like that's not. And I have a habit of putting.
That part.
I have a habit of putting people back in the audience and going right in their inbox, and I start praying for them in their inbox, and then I send them a message because if God give me something to download to them, like you do not come onto this platform doing that. That's not what we do. But we're gonna pray for you. We're gonna give you the word. We're gonna give you some encouragement, and then I'm gonna block you. I want to make sure you saw it first, then I'm gonna go ahead and move you on out the way. Or if God say leave them there because you ain't got to worry about it no more, then I do that. But that's the way we move on here. So we're gonna be excited to have y'all with us one more again on tomorrow. Am I right today, Thursday? Yep. On tomorrow morning at 7:45 a.m. for morning social. And today, y'all, we will be back with our silly selves at 1 p.m. Central. I'm sorry, I ain't caught air.
We'll be back today at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time for afternoon social. With having too much fun. I think that's gonna be an hour where we just gonna be kind of loosening up, having fun. Taking some of the stresses of how the day may be going, so you can actually relax and then finish the rest of your day in an amazing spirit.
Hey man, y'all, I caught air while I was talking. I don't know why I think that's funny when you talking and all of a sudden this air hit you and then you cough and almost hiccup at the same time and you can't breathe. I don't know. I don't know why I think that's hilarious. But I always thought, God, you got a way of dealing with that. How do you let our bodies do that? Like, why? But yes, Kelly, thank you so much for taking over for that because I promise y'all, I was on mute on Clubhouse, but radio and all that heard all of that gag and
Yeah, I know. I heard it.
they got all of it in full effect. So thank you, Maya, for being on with us. Thank you for Michelle for being on with us, and thank you, Miss Mamie, for being on with us. All of those that came on, I know B Snow jumped on for a minute. We didn't get a chance to talk to Amber J, but she was on in the background modding. And thank you, Kelly Webb, for being my sidekick this morning. This has been amazing. Oh, and Brian Bird, we can't leave the preacher off. Thank you, Brian Bird, for coming on. And this was a good one. And this is one that we're going to put down in the book. So if you want to listen to this live, you have today to listen to it again on f2g.radio on Facebook. We need everybody on Clubhouse to go over and follow us on Facebook. If you don't have a Facebook page, but you have a YouTube, which is normally set up through your Gmail, go on YouTube and follow Faithful to God Network. And we have it written out Faithful, the number two, F. I'm sorry. See, almost messed it up. Faithful, the number two, and God after that network. So that's us. Go over there and follow us there. We need to start building that page. I haven't been pushing it as much, but we are trying to build that page up so we can make YouTube our live station as well. So we'll be running the radio station through there, and that's where we get our Patreon videos from. But we want to get that up so we can start going live there in different ways. Cause y'all, let me tell y'all, and Kelly can get me. I know Kelly's gonna get me. I'm looking in the air, so I'll have to look down to see that she already trying to, but she gonna get me. We are looking to do YouTube TV. So if y'all can help us out, y'all can help us out by following our page, I am gonna get got. Just follow us and get your friends to follow us and tell your family members, even if they the little kids, because we are a family station. We are a family station, so they can follow us as well. But we need to get these numbers up so that we'll be able to have access to everything that YouTube offers, because we want to be able to keep this stuff running up and going. And for all of you all, especially Maya is one, she is one of our patrons. Thank you for being our patron, Maya. We love you so much for it. And those that have joined, I think it was I think it's Geraldine. There's some names. I have to go back and look at the list. But you all have been joining in patreon.com/F2G. And I am so excited and so happy to have you all on. Things are coming up that's about to be added on, and we are ready to start getting this thing moving. So I'm excited for you all to be able to receive what God has given us to put on there. And we are receiving ourselves from it, y'all. Y'all wouldn't believe it, but we actually are receiving ourselves from it because of who God is. He is like showing us, listening to some of the stuff that's going to be coming on. We've been shocked. We've been shocked at what God is doing. We've been shocked at how He told us it was going to come on. We've been shocked that Kelsey will be teaching some things. We are excited about this all the way around the board.
Hold on. It's a Roger. That's a amazing.
Come on.
Wow. It's really stressing me. Oh my God. Yes,
Absolutely.
I heard that malarkey.
And so I put the link at the top, y'all. I'm laughing at myself. I put the link at the top, patreon.com/F2G. Go ahead and subscribe to us to be a patron. We actually are doing something new. I got approval from my code today. So, Kelly, I did talk to you about briefly. Well, actually, I didn't because I was sending you a message and it didn't go through. I'm looking at it now. But my co-lead, B Snow, the co-founder for F2G, we will be doing a kid vlog that will be coming on to patreon.com, and this will be for your children if you have children between the ages of 5 and 12. Oh, we did talk about that a little bit. 5 to 15 years old, I'm sorry, 5 to 15 years old. On patreon.com there will be a section just for the children, and as adults, let me tell y'all, if y'all want to go on there and you get the tier above it, go to the tier that's above it. You have access to see what your children are seeing as well, and you can watch it on your tier, but they will have just that tier. You choose the tier that they go on, and that's the only thing that they can see. So it's safe for them to be able to go in there, and we're cutting out any additional ads so nothing else can come through and interrupt what they're seeing. But there will be a continuous kid vlog. We're going to have on there young entrepreneurs. We're going to have people reading. We're going to have authors and stuff coming on that's their books, their favorite books, or even representation books. We're going to have a lot of people on there. And Maya's a teacher. I have a thought in my head. I'm going to have to talk to her. But we'll have some stuff on there, lesson plans for the summer, things that we'll be doing just to teach them DIYs, different stuff like that. So be on the lookout for the kids vlogs, y'all. We're working it out where this is going to be a surround sound of everything. We really are excited about that. So I want to make sure that we go for it and get it all this done. I see Kelly done let me off the hook over here. So make sure you're subscribing to the newsletter. Kelly, put that in there. You want to talk about that really quick before we exit, Kelly?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. We actually have quarterly newsletters that go out. So, of course, that's the first. We kind of do it in January, but I think we're going to start pushing maybe the end of the quarters. Are we doing middle or end of the quarters now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what those newsletters will entail is everything that we have going on. Of course, you won't hear us speak on the announcements verbally while we're on air. However, this is actually giving you the actual newsletter of what's going on. A lot of the announcements, additional announcements, will be in the newsletter that we do not speak out on air. But that will let you know everything that is coming up, whatever the specials are, whatever the sales are, whatever new releases are. That will give you all the information on all the amazing shows that are on F2G Radio. All the, have we talked about the F2G on the move?
Go ahead.
Okay, so in regards to F2G, I will let you know where we will be on the move to. So I really want to make sure